Okay, this evening we're going to move to 2.1. This is a public hearing for the planned consolidation of Hazeldale and Laketown Elementary Schools and the proposal to include Southern View Elementary School. The Board of Education and I encourage public comment and participation in this hearing. If you would like to speak during this evening's hearing, please sign up on the form located on the desk next to Ms. Hammers, either now or upon conclusion of the presentation. Recommended that the Board approves a resolution that the Board of Education adjourns into a public hearing regarding the planned consolidation of Hazeldale and Laketown Elementaries and the proposal to include Southern View Elementary School, and upon conclusion of the public hearing, this meeting will adjourn. Is there a motion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none?
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ringer. Zimmer.
Aye.
That is 4.
Okay, this meeting is not just adjourned now, and we'll be moving into the public hearing. Our board members tonight are Mr. Miller, Mr. Zimmers, I'm Tony Mars, and Bill Ringer. And now, Superintendent.
And we are also videoing tonight's session as well, so that other board members who have not been here, not able to attend, or other community members can view this session. So if you see it tonight and want to, let somebody else know about it, we are videotaping the session this evening. So welcome to everybody. Thank you for coming out this evening. We'll keep your time in our best interest tonight. But we wanted to show you some designs and give you a little insight into the new school design that we're thinking about. And we also have some picture renderings behind the table over here. So if afterwards on your way out you want to take a look at it and go up and see it closer, what I'm showing you here in tonight's presentation. So once again, I'm Jennifer Gill. I'm the Superintendent of Schools in District 186. We also have over at our long table here, Daryl Shaver, the Director of Operations and Maintenance. We have Mike Rosen, who's our Director of School Leadership and Facilities Planning. Todd Cyrillic from BLDD. Dave Leonati, who's an architect for the new school from MMLP. Tim Hickey from O'Shea Builders, and Mark Vasconcellos from Bigster Chem. And they are civil engineers that have been working on the project. So our recommendation, as already been outlined by Mr. Mars, is based on our school's Our Future Master Facility Plan to combine Hazeldale and Laketown, and the board actually already voted on that to do so on a new site and prepare a new school to be built between those two school populations, keeping the same boundaries and moving those two schools together. Recently, after consideration of the Southern View site and what needs to be done in order to remove the mobile units and bring this school into a 21st century learning opportunity, and looking at the land that was possible on the south side of town, making sure that we keep a school on the south side of town, it's being proposed to recommend to the Board of Education the inclusion of Southern View into a new state-of-the-art facility on the south side of town. So how did we get here? We had 9 different community engagement sessions that we went through between February and November of 2017. We also then went into a 1-cent sales tax, which was passed by our community to give us public permission to do the large-scale school redesigns that we're doing across the community and the new school building that we're going to be doing in the next few years, including this project. And this is the first time that we've had funding for our schools in our community since 1985. And so we want to use this money very judiciously to make sure that we leave our city and our communities in great shape for our schools into the future. We have been receiving just over $10 million per year from that 1-cent sales tax. It's coming in quite well, even despite the pandemic and the things that we've gone through. So once again, our facilities planning principles that we have had from the very beginning is to make sure that every school in our district is equitable, has the same type of amenities and things that students can enjoy and learn in each day. And that includes not only classroom space, but auditorium, gymnasium, media centers, or libraries, as well as kitchen, cafeteria, and spaces for our arts and our athletics. We want to make sure that they're student-friendly, student-centered, have all the technology that they need to be successful in today's world, that they are safe and secure. Those have been two things that we have made sure that we keep at the forefront in each and every one of our facilities designs. We want to make sure that we come forward with up-to-date infrastructure and also state-of-the-art HVAC systems and airflow. We've learned how important that is in our new and modern facilities. Two of our facilities that are going to be part of this new school currently do not have central air conditioning, and we want to make sure that we include that into our new school structures. And last but not least, a welcoming environment. When you walk into the school, making sure that it's bright and easy to get around, but also a very welcoming environment. So when we looked at our consolidation considerations, once again, all three schools are connected by Stevenson Drive. So right off of Stevenson Drive, so it would be in our interest to also build a new school right off of Stevenson Drive, somewhere up and down this south of town corridor. So right now, when we did the feasibility, functionality, suitability study, whatever you want to call it, we did this very judiciously, where we walked through every single space of all three of these buildings and measured them against what a 21st century learning school should be for students. And what we found were that these three schools had the lowest of all of the schools in all of District 186. So Hazel Dell had a 47%, Laketown a 48%, and Southern View a 50%. And BLDD did help us with that functional suitability score. Each of our current facilities that we're talking about have major structural issues that need to be addressed. I know that many of you know that this part of the building, the center part, was actually built in 1934 with World War I bonds, just after World War I. So then the rest of the building was sort of built around it and added onto at different segments throughout time. And it is an L-shaped property here. So we're on the kind of the front of the L, and then we have land that goes alongside the back of the school down to the park area. And then there are homes directly here to the south of the building. So we know that including Southern View eliminates the costs of trying to figure out how to add space onto this building so that we can eliminate the mobile units. One of the goals of our entire facilities plan is we had 25 mobile units throughout the district. They were actually called temporary units, which they haven't been very temporary because they've been in place for 25 years. So not having students have to go outside and then back inside for restroom facilities, for lunch, and for their special classes, but have them be included in the actual building. So we had put into our original plan about $2.9 million to renovate this building to add on space to take care of the three mobiles. But it doesn't really address all of the needs of this facility. And likely that $2.9 million will be close to 4.5 with the inflation that we're seeing right now. Just about all of our projects, unfortunately, have had about a 10% increase since we did this original study in 2017. A new school would have approximately 450 students. It's similar to Rachel Lindsay size, Harvard Park size. Also, the numbers right now at all three schools have dropped dramatically. Hazel Bell has only 117 students, Laketown 166, and Southern View at this point in time is 149. Most of our schools in District 186 have upper 200s and up to 400 in size. And so in 2011, you can see the way that we've dropped population. We have Hazel Bell had 243 in 2011-12, Laketown 220, and Southern View had 227. So we've lost significant population in the south side of our community, and we're hoping that the new school actually draws people to come here and want to choose one of these communities that feeds to our brand new elementary school. So the benefits of consolidation would be students and community. New construction presents opportunities beyond what is happening in the classrooms today. A new school can empower students and families within and outside of the community. Consolidation to the school also increase program availability. When I show you some of the new drawings, you can think about how collaboration will help within the building, the new things that we can bring, and the proper learning spaces that we can provide for our students. Again, it's allowing us to target spending for students in one location rather than across 3 locations. So when you think about targeted spending plans for each school, we want to give every school an equitable amount. But in order to do 3 schools, it's much more expensive for us than if we provide a brand new state-of-the-art facility and really target our funding for the things that these schools need. Also allow greater teacher collaboration, and I'll show you that in some pictures here in just a moment. So the site selection is well above my head in terms of what I'm trying to do. So I did utilize a team of architects and engineers that are sitting at this table to help me analyze and look at different sites that were available on the south side of town, as well as the existing sites that are currently here. So we have BLDB completed the site analysis of Hazel Bell and Laketown. Mr. Kim did a further study of the Laketown site, and they are civil engineers and really focus on things like detention needs, which is water runoff, also things like sewer capacity for larger facilities on a site, and they are here and can help us fill in when I get to that point where we look at the slides. We did get some information from the Sangamon County Water Reclamation District, and they recommended that we look at a site that already has newly developed sewer systems rather than those existing sites. MMLP has reviewed the possibility of combining Hazel Bell and Laketown, and they have a report that they are finishing up as we speak on what it would look like to just combine 2 schools and not include Southern View. But once again, our recommendation is to include Southern View, but we want to be prepared for any decision that the Board of Education might make in my direction. Legal counsel is also reviewing all of the site deeds. It is interesting, like we just talked about with Laketown. Laketown actually has, it has ownership of, it's Woodside Township owns a small corner of it, but they've allowed us to use it as a gravel parking lot for years. So that increases the site from 2.4 originally to about 3.3 acres that we've then given that information to MMLP to look at what drawing of the school might look like. Also, it's interesting, Southern View has been here for some time, and they actually had gifted us a little piece of land, a strip of land back here behind the school to help with some of our playground space some time ago. So the benefits of a new school, again, at a new site, safety, student-centered, the functionality, and then also the environment. A lot of schools have a cafeteria and a gymnasium, like the one we're sitting in today. Same with Laketown, and same with Hazel Bell. It actually causes scheduling problems for PE class. It's problematic when we have an indoor day and we need to have some indoor recess. There's no other space to go for kids to get that recess time that they need and get that energy out, because it's also being used as a cafeteria at the same time. And it's really hard on our custodial staff, I saw you up there, to clean up taco meat and get it ready for PE class. It's not that we haven't been doing it for decades, but our new studies show that if you have a separate gymnasium from a cafeteria, the functionality of your school increases greatly. The environment too also includes safe places for buses to drop off and for cars to drop off their students in the morning and also pick up at school. So once again, as we think about the infrastructure, I've already mentioned that 2 of the schools do not have central air conditioning, and we would need to provide HVAC system upgrades to them if they were to stay in their current site, which is extremely costly, which is why the recommendation was originally made to consolidate those 2 schools into a brand new school off-site. And then also, no matter what we do, if we were to rebuild a new school on an existing site, we would have to displace the students at the current school for almost a school year, if not longer, and they would have to go to other schools only to be reunited again in the new school eventually, and it just would cause a lot of disruption to the students during a time when they've already been disrupted quite a bit due to the pandemic. So once again, we wanted to show you the site that we're looking at. It's 11th Street property, but it's actually in the development where Fiat Alice used to be many years ago. So if you can see this big yellow area, this is 11th Street up and down here. And then this is a pond, but like over here would be like Starbucks and the Sgt. Pepper's Cafe. And then this is the current map of where the students live that attend each of those sites. So you can see this is, oh, click wrong button. This is the Southern View neighborhood and area where if you looked up an address anywhere in that red box, it would say that you attend Southern View for elementary school. And the green dot is the new proposed site or new school is actually in the southern boundaries. So if we built a new school there, even if it was just for Hazel Dell and Lake Town, Southern View would see a brand new school right across the street that you're not able to attend due to the boundaries. So that's why we thought about consolidating them. And when we looked into the cost of this building, it just started to make more sense. And as we really dug into the plan since 2017, it was something that we felt strongly enough to bring to the Board of Education. So this is another little section of town that does come into Southern View. And then the yellow is the orange, the darker orange is Hazel Dell, this whole area. And then the yellow is Lake Town, this area. So you can see the little yellow dot right here in the middle, and then the other areas of town that lead to Lake Town. So it's not just this immediate community that has lost some families, it's all over the city of the families that lead to the school. And we are under a desegregation order, and that's something that we take very seriously and provide to each of the schools a map that is consistent with that law. So once again, the benefits of the 11th Street property is that it's located within Southern View's attendance boundaries. It provides a unique opportunity. It's got ample acreage, if not more, than it's already developed. It's already got the sewer systems, all of the internet wiring and everything that you need for a new traditional building. It's already got the detention pond on site and right down the street so that you can have water and runoff flow to that. It's got plenty of room for all of the amenities that a new school would have. And it also has all of the acreage for great outdoor space, including an outdoor actual learning area that's proposed in this plan. Access to the property is it's really good. There are 4 different roads that can provide access to the new school. You've got 11th Street, and then there's a side street that you can take off of 11th to get to the school. There's a school that runs in front, a road that runs in front of the school. So we can have buses and car riders coming into 2 different entrances to drop off, and we'll show you a picture of that in just a few minutes. So it really does provide a lot of safety and availability. One question that I know that some of the Southern View families had were, what about busing? So we would set up busing from this area of town to the new school because it would be considered a dangerous crossing for you to go across 5th and 6th Street to get to the school. So we would have a bus that would be available to be about a 3-minute bus ride probably, a pickup and a drop-off. That's very similar. I served as principal at Rachel Lindsay for a few years, and we had a neighborhood named Oak Park that was behind the school just about a mile, but you had to cross our archer elevator, and that was considered a dangerous crossing. So those students had a bus, and like I said, it was like a 3-minute drop-off to get to school. Again, the property is already developed, which is going to reduce a lot of the construction sites. It's already clear, like all the right facilities are run to the property, so none of that has to be done. If you buy a piece of farmland, there's a whole lot of work to do to prep that land to get it ready. But since it's already prepped for development and it's been approved for development of a school, then we need to make sure that we understand that that's a huge cost savings to any project. Also, we feel like the tax base and the economic growth for this neighborhood will actually increase. We would never leave this building and just say we're abandoning it and not take care of it. We would work with you, and I've already met with the mayor. We've talked about it and brainstormed a few things that could be mutually beneficial actually to Southern View, as well as the school district in utilizing this space here at Southern View since it is air conditioned. There's a lot of opportunities to even use the space we're in now for community development if needed. And the same with Lake Town and Hazel Dell. We want to work with the communities in which you live so that we can help design a future for that space if we were to build into a new school and consolidate. So we would never leave it and not take care of it. I've got Mr. Shaver here. We've taken care of facilities for many years. Wanlis is a really good example. That's a school that's out in Grandview. We did close that for students a few years ago, but we actually use it as a professional development center and have 2 offices inside that building and maintain the exterior of that building. But for the students, in order to do what we needed to do to make them have the spaces that they need, leaving that school site was essential. So once again, there is a building on this site that also might be available for us to do for our administrative offices, so there might be more presence in the south side of town, which also is awesome. You know, it brings vitality, it brings another business right in here to the south side of town, and all of those things drive business and drive infrastructure. Right now, I operate 4 different buildings for my administrative staff. That provides a lot of inefficiencies for us working together and bringing things together. We consolidate our work as well. And then growth opportunities. Again, the site is about 35 acres. It is something that is being offered to us for one set price, so it's kind of a one-shot buy. It's not can we just have this or can we just have this? The owners of the land really want to have this all go to District 186. They graduated from District 186 schools, and they want to see the vitality of this side of town, which is why they built their business here to begin with. And it is the old H.D. Smith building, no longer owned by that company or any other company. It's owned by their family trust, and they are interested in making an offer to the school district to buy all of that property. And then once again, the possibilities, these are preliminary ideas that we're about to show you, so this isn't the perfect design. We want the teachers that will be teaching and living in that building, the families and the students to really have a voice in the spaces and how they're designed and where they're designed. But this is a feasible design that could go on the 11th Street property, so we wanted to show you what is possible. So this is, again, on a blow-up poster over there if you want to go look at it. This is 11th Street at the top. So the back of the school would be to 11th Street. It wouldn't be facing the busy corridor. It would be facing this road that's hardly used by anybody. It does lead to the FBI building at the other end of the street, and then there's the Illinois Principals Association, and there's a Girl Scout building right there, and then technically, right across the street, like right here, would be our district administrative offices and many of the team members that you see here today if we were to buy that property. So this is the way that they were going to lay out the elementary school. This would be for parking and parent drop-off in the morning. You kind of come in and come around, and then this would be bus drop-off. The buses would come in and slot themselves in, drop off students, and when they back out, go around the turn and come out. So none of our students would be mingling with the buses. This would just be the bus lane only. And then this would be the main entrance of the school. And this would be the gymnasium. This would be the cafeteria over here. There would be a community room. And then you'll see some different sites here as well. So this is a possible layout of the building. Once again, how those rooms look or where they're located or any design is still yet to be done with a team of educators and family and students. But this is the first floor. You see the kitchen behind the cafeteria. You see a music room and art. There would be a stage right here for performances, much like you have right here at Southern View. So this would be a whole fine arts center, so to speak. And then over here would be a full-size gymnasium. And then when you come in, this would be the main offices on the right side and the community room up here as well. And then if you go down the hallway, you'd have the first grade wing and this collaboration space in the middle. So if a few students needed to come out from each classroom for some class collaboration, you could do that. I've been in schools that are designed like this in Bloomington, and the teachers actually bring the kids out into that space to do things together and have efficiency with their space instead of having to go down to the auditorium or the library for those kinds of things. And this would be the kindergarten wing. These are some of the rooms that we know our specialists might need for literacy or for reading. Then if you go to the second floor, so there would be an elevator and stairwell in the middle, but you'd have a full media center on the second floor that would look out over that main hallway. Then you would have the fourth grade room and the second and third grade wing down in this area as well. And once again, restrooms all over and up and down as well for ease for the students. And once again, this would be an eyesight really of the school if you look across into that area. So here are just some examples. We've had a lot of conversation. We may not have as much glass or windows in our new school, but this is just the way some schools look like in other locations that show collaboration spaces. This is an example of a main hallway where they're very open and wide, like a fourth grade and fifth grade wing. This is an example of an art room. This is an example of what many of our new buildings and our new entrances are looking at like when they come in. We have a double door buzz-in system in our schools, and that's what we're working to build across our district. And that gives a lot of safety to the main office as well as the entire school. So a lot of questions that have come up the last time. One of them was the timeline. So we know that this estimate would be anywhere from 12 to 18 months to get done and up and moving. So Southern View will be Southern View for another entire school year. There's no way we can get started on this with all of the things that we need to do and get it completely finished to start in just one summer. There's no way. And it may even, some of the finishing touches may go into that next school year after that. What will happen with the old sites? I've addressed that a little bit, but it is the thing that weighs on our mind the most. We often think about, what do we decide first? We certainly don't want to decide what we'll do with the school if we're not going to leave it. If we're going to stay, then we know what we're going to do. So we kind of need to know and have direction of what we need to do. Then over the next year, we want to sit down with the neighborhoods themselves and talk about that space and what might be viable for it. And once again, we promise not to just leave a school abandoned, because we know that they are buildings that have been in those districts for many, many years and are very important to your community. What about class sizes? We are not looking to reduce class sizes, reduce the number of classrooms. We're looking at combining the schools as they are. So class sizes should still be quite comfortable in this new school. School calendar. Southern View is a balanced calendar school, and that's something that's very important to the teachers here and to many of the families. So we will need to study that and look, over the next year about what kind of a calendar the new school will have. But that just kind of goes into how we build a new school culture and how we really bring these three staffs together to work and to learn. One of the most important things we know is relational capacity, and that's the relationships we have with our communities, relationships that we have with our families, and then also just relationships that we have amongst our staff. And combining three schools, that'll take a little work on our part to get all of you together. Many of you know each other already, but getting you together and understanding and knowing the specialists that we need and how that's going to all roll out in the new school will be the work that we do over the next calendar year. So once again, supports for students. We will not be taking any supports away. And in fact, we think this will increase the amount of supports that we have for the students in these three buildings. And then also, what's the potential for community collaboration? We continue to want to meet and talk about what goes into this new school and how it can be an inviting space. There's also some inkling of really cool collaboration with UIS that's being talked about. We have a university that's at the other side of the 11th Street corridor. It connects with SMTD bus every day. And we know that we have a lot of students that are attending school to become teachers at UIS, and just giving them that opportunity to learn and grow in one of our schools. Lake Town and Hazel Dell already have some partnership, especially Hazel Dell with UIS, and we want to build and expound on that as we go forward as well. So we have a lot of community partners that are also interested in helping us see our reality. So those are the questions that have been kind of brought up at the last session, and I wanted to honor those. But today's session really is about hearing from the community and hearing if you have any questions. So, Mrs. Hammers, did anybody officially sign up to speak? Okay.
Four individuals that signed up.
Okay. And then we also, if you just want to provide feedback and not speak today, we do have feedback forms up here that you can fill out and write any notes, positive or questions that you have that we need to consider. And we do have, I'm not going to know the date of the next session. April 12th, there's another one of these community sessions that will be held at Lake Town.